All events will unfold around the character of Hedo Issei. He and his friends transferred to a former girls' school. He dreams of his girlfriend, but compared to Kibayuta, he is nothing. Brown-haired and his friends spy on the girls in the locker room, but they are quickly discovered, after which Hedo catches the eye of the head of the occult club Rias Gremory, after which we are shown how she goes about her business. In the evening, Issei meets a sweet girl Yuma, who offers to date him, and our main character cannot disagree. Grey-eyed spends a lot of time with her. It seems to him that he has gone to heaven. But it turns out that Yuma is not an ordinary person, she is a fallen angel who was given the task to kill him. What she copes with, and our main character almost dies, but before his end of life, the very Rias who watched him comes to him. The next day, Issei thought it was a dream, but throughout the day he felt strange. And in the end, he meets a stranger who turns out to be a fallen angel again, who was sent to kill him. He is almost killed, but the scarlet-haired woman comes to him again with her servants to help. The next day he wakes up, but he is not alone in bed. Rias turned out to be with him, who turned out to be a demon, and now she is his mistress, and he is her servant. Blue-Eyed explains to Issei what and how, but at that moment Hedo's mother enters, after which his parents left in a panic. Our brown-haired man decided to keep up with his parents, because he still does not understand anything. But Rias is in his right mind and asks Issei about his stomach wound, after which he finally realizes that all this was not a dream. As soon as they entered the school, everyone was shocked that some kid was walking with Rias Gremory herself. Before saying goodbye, the scarlet-haired woman told Hedo that a messenger would come for him in the evening. After a while, a man whom Issei had chosen, Kibayuta, comes into the classroom to them. As it turned out, he was the messenger. Later, they come to the club together. Brown-haired meets two more servants of Rias, Tojo Kaneko and Akino Himejimo. Later, the head of the club comes out of the shower and begins to explain everything in detail. Moreover, there are fallen angels, there are also ordinary angels. And also that Yuma was not a dream, everything was real. Issei did not understand why none of his friends remembered her then, and how her mobile number disappeared. As it turned out, demons and fallen angels have magic thanks to which you can erase all traces of your stay. The gray-eyed man is a threat because he has a holy mechanism. He tries to summon it, but it doesn't work out. Further, Hedo has no idea why he survived if he was killed by Yuma. It turns out that thanks to the map, Issei summoned the scarlet-haired one, and she revived him as a demon, her servant and a member of the Gremory family. Following what the brown-haired man should do her tasks. After one successful task, he is given another one. The gray-eyed man comes to the man, who at first does not let him in at first, but after a couple of tears he let Hedo in. Once the task has been completed, Issei returns back. The fallen angel comes for him again. The brown-haired man cannot cope with her, but at the crucial second his holy mechanism is activated, and the angel flies away. Coming back to the club, they explain to him that since the fallen know that he has been reborn and that his mechanism has awakened, he needs to learn how to fight them alone. The next day, Hedo meets a cute girl in a nun costume. After meeting with a nice girl, Issei starts a conversation with her, and then decides to take a walk with her. During a walk the blonde notices a boy who has a bruise on his knee, and our hero sees how this bruise disappears before his eyes. While walking, Hedo thinks about the strange feelings when he was next to this girl. As it turned out, all this time they were walking to the church. The brown-haired man did not dare to accompany the girl there, and was already preparing to say goodbye. But before that she called her name Asia Argento. Next, Issei decided to ask Rias about these strange feelings when he was next to Asia. As it turned out, these were his demon instincts. They also explained to him that if it was the servant of the Lord who killed him, he would die forever. In the evening, the whole club receives a message that a lost demon lives somewhere, and the whole company moves out. During the task, the scarlet-haired one explains to Hedo the system of their powers, namely that Rias is the king, and she can give her servants special powers from the chessboard. As a result, they meet a demon, and Gremory explains which of them is which during the battle. Yuta is a horse, he is fast and wields a sword. Kaneko Rook has high physical performance. Akino is a queen with strong magic, as well as a sadist. As a result, the hostess finishes off the demon, and Issei decides to clarify who he is, as it turned out, a pawn. After all, Grey-Eyed is put forward for a new task, but when he comes to the house there was a large amount of blood in front of him. And there was a stranger sitting on the couch. His name is Fritz Siros. He is a priest who kills demons. A fight begins in which Issei loses, but at the end of the fight Asia comes who is stunned. As a result, the girl finds out that Hedo is a demon, but she does not turn away from him and asks him to spare her. Fritz doesn't care about it, and he harasses Argento. The brown-haired man tries to help her, but a portal opens in front of him from where his friends come out. They decide to leave. Issei tries to take Asha with him, but it was not possible. The scarlet-haired woman treats the gray-eyed man from his wounds. Hedo realizes that it was because of his weakness that he could not help his girlfriend. The brown-haired man decides to start training, when suddenly he meets a blonde on the street. They're having a good time. Argento tells his life story. Suddenly Yuma appears. Issei decides to fight her. He summons the holy mechanism, but Reynard just laughs, because it's just a double crit, which doubles his power for a while. The battle is lost and the fallen angel takes Asia. He wants to help the nun, but Rias tells him to forget her. Hedo says he wants to help her himself, and even if they lose him, he's just a pawn, his loss won't be huge. Gremory explains that the pawn is revealed behind enemy lines. He can turn into any piece except the king. They also explain to him that his mechanism obeys his will. After that, the whole horde goes to the church. Yudo, Kaneko, and Issei start a fight with Fritz upon arrival. And Akino and Rias start a fight with 3 fallen angels. The trio overpowers the exorcist, who manages to get away from them. They go down into the depths of the church, where they see a ceremony being performed over Asha to take away her holy mechanism. The ceremony was completed. After the ceremony, the brown-haired man makes his way through a horde of exorcists, not without the help of Kaneko and Yuda, gets to Argento's body. Reynard begins to mock Issei, but he leaves with the blonde's body, and Tojo and Kiba are covering for him. At the top, Hedo is talking to a dying girl. He's starting to cry, but there's nothing he can do. At this time, the fallen angels begin to mock Issei, which made Rias so angry that after one blow there was nothing left of them. Reynard shows the power taken from Asha. After a short conversation, Grey-Eye enters the battle. But the forces are not equal. Hedo calls out to the devil and gets to his feet. Its mechanism is changing. Reynard, terrified, tries to escape, but the pawn strikes back, knocking her down. All friends get together. After which Rias explains that her servant does not have an ordinary mechanism. It is one of Longin's 13 weapons. A weapon capable of killing a god, a red dragon glove, a boosting mechanism. Yuma tries to fool Issei one last time, but he is not taken and the president kills her. After all, the scarlet-haired one resurrects Asia as her servant, and the elephant figures. In the morning, Hedo comes to the club and asks Gremory about all her pawns. As it turned out, all 8 pawns were invested in it. Asia needs to find a place to live. Her mistress promised that she would take care of it. The next morning Rias comes to Issei to train with him. After that, she stuns him by the fact that Argento will now live in his house, and she will also study with him in class. Another unfinished task for Hedo makes him think that he has disappointed the scarlet-haired woman very much. During physical education, he falls asleep in the infirmary, but after waking up, he sees the president in front of him. And she sets a condition for him that if he wants to touch her breasts, he must sign a contract. After the successful conclusion of the contract, the scarlet-haired woman asked Issei how he feels when he falls in love. His answer was clear: you don't have to date someone you don't really love. When the conversation ended, they moved on to the brown-haired man's reward. But during the visit, a member of the club comes to them. Rias hugs Grey-Eyed and asks him to stand up. For Hedo in Asia, it was the last week when they were handing out flyers. It is the duty of a familiar, they need to get them. Everyone shows their familiars. During this, the study council comes in. As it turned out, They are also demons and their mistress is Sauna Sidori. They also have a brand new Sanji Genshiro. He is also worthy of a familiar, but due to the fact that a servant can only be obtained once a month, they decide to arrange a duel to decide which of them will be the first. We decided to figure out the sport in the tennis game, but as a result there was no winner. The next game was basketball. Issei couldn't sleep at night, which is why he decided to go to the blonde to ask for a thread with a needle. After coming, he distributed bandages to the whole family, as a thank you that they are trying for him with Argento. As a result, the Gremory team wins. They teleport to a dimension where, after a long search, they find the elven dragon that Issei wants. But slime begins to fall from the sky, which corrodes all women's clothes. They remove all the slime from themselves, but before they can remove it from Asha, the dragon removes it, thereby Asha chooses him for herself. At the beginning of the episode, Hedo has a nightmare that causes him to wake up. After a good day, Issei decides to take a bath, but it turned out to be a blonde. She wants to strengthen friendly ties with him, but the brown-haired man tries to explain that this is not possible. But at this moment his mother comes to him. Although the end of the day was not very good, Issei did not expect that the president would teleport to him and ask him to take her virginity. During the process that has almost begun, Grafia teleports to them, who is dissatisfied with the actions of the scarlet-haired one. Then they leave, leaving him at a loss. In the morning, everyone came to the club. Without having time to explain, Razor Phoenix appears in front of them, with his servants. As it turned out, Rias should marry him. Due to the fact that there were few pure-blooded demons left, Gremory's brother and her father decided everything for her. The president does not agree, but Phoenix will not back down either. Grafia says if they can't decide, then the rating game will decide everything. Their two clans will fight each other. Riser decided to tease Issei with Rias and kissed one of his servants. Hedo doesn't understand how he can do this in front of Rias, which is why he wants to start fighting, but he is stopped by a Phoenix servant, and they leave. Before the rating game, we decided to train all the members of the club, especially brown-haired and Asia. Akino helps them to master magic. Kaneko helps Grey with physical training. After a long day, they must cook dinner with the blonde with the help of magic. The main character is not doing well with this, but thanks to his method, he manages to peel a huge amount of potatoes. After a hearty dinner, the whole company takes a bath. Next, we are shown Grafia with Sazeks, who say that the Gremory family does not have a chance. Hedo can't sleep at night, and decides to continue training. Rias explains the essence of the rating game, and also explains that during the Great War of Demons, Angels and Fallen Angels, only 3 of the 73 demon families remained. Therefore, they are trying to increase the number of their kind. Next, Asia talks about the 2 weaknesses of the demons: holy water and bibilia. At night, the brown-haired man cannot sleep, as well as the scarlet-haired one. After a long conversation, Issei acquires more confidence. The next day, they decided to arrange a fight between Utah and Grey-Eyed. After summoning the holy mechanism and 12 power-ups, he uses a new technique, Dragon Volley, which destroyed the mountain. And they explain to him that he will become a decisive figure in the game. Issei and Hedo can't sleep at night. As a result of the conversation, they leave, because the game will start soon. In the club, they waited for the third party to start the battle. After that, they are transferred to a dimension completely copied from their school. As the plan was explained, the friends split up. The only ones left are Rias, Issei and Argento. The scarlet-haired woman asked the gray-eyed man to lie down on her lap, by removing the seals from it. As it turned out, by enclosing 8 feet inside him, she sealed the power, because then his body was not ready. Now, after long training, he is ready to unleash this power. The brown-haired man is sent to Kaneko, who went to the gym, and the rest to other places. In the hall they meet 3 pawns and 1 rook. During the battle, Issei uses his new technique of tearing clothes. After their fight, our heroes hurry to leave the hall, because Akino was preparing to strike there with a lightning strike. At this time, Yuta has trapped 3 people and is preparing to fight them. When Hedo and Tojo were supposed to leave, a strong blow hits the board, After hitting the white-haired one, she leaves the game, but survives. As it turned out, this blow was struck by the queen, which Akino takes over. As Kiba's battle ended, he found brown-haired. Rias contacted the guys and decided that it was time for her and Asia to take part. Yuta and Issei find their battles, while Argento and the president make their way to the Razor. During the battle, it turns out that Kiba does not have a holy mechanism. He possesses the magic of the Father of Swords, because of which he can create any sword. The main character defeats the Rook, while the scarlet-haired one starts her own fight. The owner of great power calls out to his mechanism, and it is transformed. Grey-Eye joins forces with his friend and they defeat all enemies in the vicinity. But Akino lost in her fight, which is why the queen defeats Yuta. The pawn comes to the rescue of the president and Asya, but because of the strength spent, he is at the limit. Phoenix wants to finish off the main character, but Rias saves him and gives up, thus she must now marry Phoenix. Issei has a dream in which he sees a dragon. As it turns out, it is a valiant dragon, the Crimson Dragon Emperor Drake. He says that he needs to become stronger, because the White One will come soon, and he is destined to fight him. He also added the phrase, "The more you sacrifice to me, the stronger you become." Next, he wakes up and realizes that he has lost and he is still weak. Griefia teleports to his room. She gives him a leaflet thanks to which he can join the wedding, as well as a message from Seizex: "If you want to return your sister, make an effort." After that, Asia comes to him, whom the brown-haired man asked for what he could not ask anyone, and also contacted Drake. We are taken to Rias's room where she is already in her wedding dress. Razor is performing in public when Issei suddenly enters. He makes his way to the president with the help of his friends. Seizex appears in front of us, who arranged all this. He was the one who wanted to arrange a battle between a phoenix and a guy who wears the power of a dragon. Hedo was asked what reward he wanted if he won. The answer was unequivocal: to bring Rias Gremory back. At the beginning of the battle, he said that he only needed 10 seconds and strengthened with his queen. And then he used super boosts, Velian Dragon Armor, Balance Breaker. The main character made a deal. In return for the hand he received power, but only for 10 seconds. In one of the attacks he used a cross. I think that the armor is about to win. It seemed that the loss was assured, but Issei, thanks to the dragon's hand, was able to enhance the effect of holy water, thereby slowing down the self-healing of the phoenix. And he delivered a crushing blow. The ceremony was cancelled, and Rias and Hedo decided to take a ride, during which the president kissed the main character. Now she will live with him, and because of the dragon's hand, Issei's power will have to be restrained. The main character is still her pawn.